China buying more soybeans from the US? Is that achievable? And yet, the improved weather in South America, Jerry Giddel is ready to assess the impact on the commodity markets right here on Connected Farmer, your channel to keep you up to date with the latest trends in agriculture and livestock. So, Jerry, we have had a full week in the markets. Um, on Friday, the corn and soybeans were up for a few cents, but we have had an improved weather in South America, but mostly I think the markets were reacting to the fact that Donald Trump announced that he would renegotiate still with the Chinese more purchases of soybeans.
Yes, that was definitely came out of the blue there. This isn't a cautionary tale here. Everyone is convinced we've had the 12 million already purchased, and there wasn't any indications that he and Z were going to end up talking anymore about things until April, and that. But he got on the phone and talked to his buddy there in China, and came away with the idea uh, that China might be buying another 8 million up to 20 million metric tons, from the standpoint that he offered that they could take another eight. That's definitely a factor in here to help solidify some of our old crop demand here at this point. I think a lot of people around the world, though, are kind of staring at South American production prospects and supposedly on some commentary I picked up, there has been some increased demand or increased activity and that type of thing this last week, and the prices are lower down there than they are here in the U.S. So we'll find out for sure if the offer is taken, but definitely came out of the blue there and gave us a nice little pop up above $11 in the spot March, and uh, actually suggested some people that maybe take 10% of their sales and throw it in the hopper there at this point. Right now, at least, though, the South American weather prospects are interestingly enough, there's getting maybe too much rain in Brazil because they're talking about that maybe slowing harvest a little bit there. But there has been some rains across northern Argentina, and that is the one that really has a lot of concerns going on. Lots of optimism earlier with expanded corn plantings and production, but Cordoba or southern Cordoba, I should say, Buenos Aires and La Pampas's, and definitely could use more moisture down there.
Yes, yes. So the rain came, and I think that would push the prices down for a longer period of time, I guess. But there's still ways to go for the total size of the South America.
Oh, definitely. Brazil in Mato Grosso is into their harvest progress right now. It seems like this coming week's number that we updated on Monday will probably get us in the 40% level or higher in Mato Grosso. Well, and that overall, we probably will have a number 15, 20% nationwide down there from that standpoint. Argentina, we're still at least weeks away. I don't know sure we're not super far away, but that's the one that really has the big unknown, and that will if we're from the standpoint of will Argentina be a big aggressive seller in the export markets? Traditionally, in soybeans, they crush their beans and put it through meal and oil, but we'll see how that all works out going forward. But definitely the South American crop and actions from internationally here between the U.S. and China are the two biggies that impacted prices.
Yes, and we also had Brazil that still we don't have the weather that would generate some losses at this point.
No, not relatively speaking in the major producing areas, and that. Rio Grande do Sul it has some of the same influences of weather that happens in Argentina, but the northern part of Argentina excuse me, Rio Grande do Sul are continue to move along, or at least anticipated to be solid from there. So right now the the world markets are anticipating what the USDA might say on Tuesday this coming week. Uh, from there, uh, I think initially there was some ideas that in the uh, soybean carryover stock that they would probably dip down on exports, and so that the carryover would increase from the 350 million number that they came up after the USDA's final production numbers last month. But I myself even adjusted some of my estimates to submit to the uh, excuse me, to the wire services and that, and really kind of left our carryover stock at 350, which is pretty still a sizable number. I think to get any real rally of magnitude long term, we need to be 250, but I'm not sure we've. Uh, maybe that'd be the case if the optimism of President Trump actually comes through and they do buy another 8 million metric tons of beans in the international markets and from us, but that not be the case. But right now, at least Tuesday's numbers looking for a 2 or 3 million down on average on the soybeans at 347, and wheat also at 8 or 9 million down. That's an interesting one. I, we are in very, very strong exports in the U.S., and we've got a full quarter ahead of us. So that's not an impossibility, but it doesn't look like it's going to have a huge change here internationally at this point. Corn, the overall, the trade average guess turned out to be exactly unchanged on that one uh, from the Reuters survey, and that I was anticipating maybe a little stronger uh, export demand because we are running so good. And but I was only looking for a 25 million increase in exports to compensate for that. Also, the ethanol production has been quite it's been bouncing around a lot here. Earlier in the month here, when there was optimism about uh, the E15, uh, being expanded in the U.S. and the final bill here for the and that it turns up that we had a huge rally up to nearly 1.2 million uh, worth of utilization on that. But then it's because of the last minute decision not to include that in the final bill here for 2025, 26, then it's pummeled all the way down to, geez, overall number went from 1.2 to 950. So that's a pretty significant setback. I kind of feel like that there's still going to be some solid usage there in ethanol. This when does the bill actually get passed? President Trump seems to be still on board for it, but we'll see if it actually happens. We've had this idea of expanded ethanol uh, requirements in the U.S. for quite some time, and it needs to have actually get some teeth in a bill and it come
Yeah,
through.
and another news that did not does not have a direct impact on corn and soybeans, but still has some impact is the fact that the US will import 5 times more beef from Argentina.
Right, right. Well, we had this initial idea back in the fall, and coming from President Trump's in his fight for inflation in the U.S. Grocery store, and that, and now it seems that he's got more of a, general approach. Yes, being up. I think he's originally it was 20 million pounds of import from Argentina, and now it's going to be 100 million. And that, interestingly enough, the price of beef has really tightened up dramatically here in the top quality stuff. And Argentine beef is going to be um, beef that's well, part of it's the fact that their style of raising beef is grass-fed, and so it doesn't have the marbling and the factors there. So I don't know. We'll see how that uh, this new program going forward, how much that will actually impact, I should say, the traditional cuts here in the U.S. that producers buy at the grocery store on that. So
All right. So we'll check back next week. Thank you very much, Jerry.
you bet. At this point, we'll see if there's any numbers in the USDA, but I think it's going to be a pretty blah report on Tuesday, and then we'll be watching South America. That seems to be the biggie, and whatever might happen in Washington, D.C., that's always a wild card.
Yes. Thank you.